Welcome to another video. This is Admas Kinfu from supersqa.com. In this video, we're going to talk about what is software testing. So we're exploring this career of software testing or software QA. And in this short video, I'm just going to explain what that is, what we do, just trying to compress all that material into this short video, right? Just to give you the idea. Again, go check out the full course, which is totally free also. So what is software testing? This is kind of like an official definition. Software testing is the process of evaluating software applications to ensure that it meets its requirements, behaves as expected, and is free of defects. So making sure it works, it looks the way it's supposed to look, and it acts the way it's supposed to act. Just making sure the quality of the software. I'm just going to move a little quick. So it detects bugs and defects before software goes to live. So you build software and you make it available to the general public or to your clients. And you want to make sure that software works and that software basically just looks good, looks the way the requirements are meant to be, right? You have requirements and you just basically matching the requirements, validate the requirements. Whatever the requirements are that the team built, as a tester, you're testing it. Hey, does it meet the requirements? It's expected to look like this. Does it look like that? It's expected to do this. Does it do that? So that's pretty much what you do. It's a lot more than that, but at the top level, you're testing it, your quality assurance, right? You're testing it, so that's what you're responsible for. But you're also going to contribute to the overall quality of the process, not just the product itself, the process of delivering that product. So you're pretty much involved in a lot of the software development. We have a session or a lecture just about that coming up. At a high level, tester's job is writing tests, right? We write tests. Everything I just talked about, does it do this, does it do that? We're going to document it, we're going to write it down. So a lot of our job is documenting it, then executing it, actually testing it. But it's a lot more than that, but know how things work to test them. So these slides come from the full course, so I did clean it up, right? So in this case, it says it's a lot more about this course because the course covers a lot more. If you're testing software, it's not just about that piece you're testing. Yeah, you need to understand how overall stuff works. So in this course, that's why I included SQL, APIs, and things, CI/CD, because you need to know how everything works so you become an effective test engineer. So don't think of yourself as just tester, think of yourself as an engineer. And you need to know a lot more about how software development works, how different technologies work. For example, Docker. I'm creating a lot of Docker content these days, and people think I'm a DevOps person. No, I'm a QA, but as a QA, I need to know how applications work. And our applications use Docker, so I can actually test the application, even though Docker is like a DevOps tool. So you're going to have knowledge, a vast knowledge of different components of software development. So I think that's a good thing. I think first of all, it just opens doors to a bunch of other things. You want to go into DevOps, you want to go into release management, all kinds of things. It just opens doors. So that's a great thing actually, and it's not overwhelming because you're going to learn one thing at a time. All right. So we're going to use different applications as examples. Actions is better than words. So let's just take a look at some examples of what tests look like. Let's start with this e-commerce. This e-commerce site is I use for all my courses for testing. I have different versions. I have this one, I have the bootcamp version, but they're all the same. And you can run this locally on your machine. Everything is just like open source code. I have YouTube videos on how to do that. I'll include it in your resource. So it's just an e-commerce site. So if I was a tester for this site, for this e-commerce business, and this is the homepage, if I am tasked to test this homepage, my job is like, hey, did the header show up? And does it say demo e-commerce store? Is there a subheader? Does it say just another WordPress site in a smaller font? Is there a menu on top? And does the menu contain home? Does the menu contain cart? Checkout, my account. What happens when I click home? It just reloads the page. What happens if I click cart? It goes to the cart page. I'll verify the URL. I'll verify I'm actually in the cart page. What if I click checkout? It's going to redirect me to cart because I don't have anything in the cart. Then I come back to home and I'll be like, okay, make sure there is a drop down. In the drop down, make sure there are lists. If I change the item in the drop down, do the order, the sorting change? Does it work basically? Does the drop down work? Does it show up and does it work? Are there rows of products? Are there columns of product? Is the image showing you? Are there buttons? What kind of buttons there are, right? The requirement is there. I'll need to know, okay, if the requirement, for example, would be if the product is on sale, there should be a badge that says sale. Then that is the requirement. So I'm going to test make sure there's a little badge that says sale, right? Requirement versus testing. And then I'll document it. So we're going to have another lecture coming up about documenting. There's tools to document it. You can just document in spreadsheets, or you can just use some professional tool. We'll talk about that, but that's the point. Like everything I just talked about, I just went over like 10 different test cases. Is this working? Does this do this? Does this do that? Each one of those things are called a test case, and each one of those things will be written down, okay? Another example, let's say I work for python.org, right? This website, this web app, I work here. So the same thing. If I want to test this, I make sure everything looks good, everything is there. When I hover my mouse over on the menu, I get a drop down. When I hover here, I get a drop down. I search, make sure search is like a whole thing. Search for stuff that exists, search for stuff that doesn't exist. Does it get the right match? Does it work? It doesn't work? Does it look right? Is there a placeholder search in there? Is this icon there? Right? Then you get it. That's just, those are like really basic tests. Then you click on downloads. And what I noticed from this website is the requirement is that when you click on downloads, it should detect what platform you're in, and it should recommend the one that's for your platform. So I'm on a Mac right now, and it knows I'm a Mac, or I'm on a Mac, and it will display that. So you need to test that. That means you need to run your test on Windows also, right? You have a Mac computer, but for your testing, you're going to have to go borrow Windows machine. Usually they will give it to you because you need to test on both places. Then you're going to load this page and make sure it will detect Windows. It's not always showing you Mac. If you're on Windows, it will show Windows. If you're on a Mac, it will show Mac. If you're on Linux, it will show Linux. So you need to test those things. So that's really what you're doing as a software tester, is making sure that application you're testing meets the requirements, right? It is quality. There are no issues. Then you can do what I just did right now, is just test cases. You can test those manually, and you can test those in automation. You can write code that will do everything I just talked about. And we'll look at that in another video coming up, right? Hopefully that will give you an over idea of what testing means when it comes to software. When you test software, basically, those examples are web applications I just talked about, but it could be any software. It can be a software that's in your car. It can be a software that's in your microwave, in your fridge, on your watch. Any kind of software, it has some functionality, and your job is, does it do what it's supposed to do, right? So hopefully that gives you an overall picture.